The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast, recording this Thursday about 4 o'clock, October 16th, 2025. How you guys doing for the Friday show, of course? How you guys doing here? I complain a little bit, which I will in just a second. I'm going to reveal my NBA, the latest ED's top 5, my top 5 NBA League Pass teams entering the year as the season begins next week, actually. Next week, Tuesday. My God, it's around the corner. I'm going to make a case, and there's a little debate about this now. Now, with the ceasefire going on in Israel and Gaza, a lot of debate whether or not Donald Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm going to sit and explain my position on that, whether or not he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize or not. And then Ted Cruz for president. There's rumors now him possibly run president in 2028. Okay, we'll discuss that. See whether he's making the right move. But first, I'm gonna whine a little bit in this podcast real quick because my car. I've had my car now. You know, I've had this car for 11 years, but the car's 15 years old. But I would not get rid of it because, quite frankly, I don't want any more car payments. And I've told you guys in the past that there's no reason for me to get a new car because why would I buy a new car that does? Why would I get something new to pay more money for that I already own something that's doing its job? Okay, works fantastic. You know, everything. All my problems with my car is all cosmetic at this point now. It needs better body work and of course the latest thing now is my car radio is gone. My car radio stopped working out of nowhere. Sunday we went to a birthday party of my kids. We're playing in the car, and by the way, the radio's only giving me issues as it is because like the auxiliary cord has been really bad. And I have to keep fiddling around with it for it to work to play my music. I play on my phone and whatnot. But all of a sudden, we're driving back home from the party, and all of a sudden, the entire radio stopped working. You put on the radio itself, you put up the volume, nothing's there. There's nothing. There's no juice whatsoever. You can see the station and all the stuff, but the radio stopped working out of nowhere. So I've actually had to start wearing headphones in my car in the last couple of days. I have to go ask someone. I'd rather not go into a big place to do this. I'd rather ask someone. A small business owner, someone who can probably fix it their own, and I probably need to do it this weekend if they can fix it. But it sucks, man. I miss my car radio, man. I miss having my car radio working. You know, listen to my podcast on there, listen to my music on there, and I'm a music nerd. It sucks, man, not having a car radio working, bro. So I've been relegated to using my headphones in a while. I don't recommend that all the time. One ear in, of course, one ear. Yeah, I miss the car radio, man. It sucks. I'm have to get a new, or probably get a whole new system anyway. Probably get a Bluetooth one, something that doesn't require having plug-ins anymore. Because, guys, it is 2025, and again, in the past, things like this would have probably made me want to get a new car. But again, I'm not gonna go get into another $25,000, $30,000 loan just to get a car radio. My car works fine. I got an old beat up Toyota Corolla 2010. That works fantastic. Toyota cars are amazing, and I plan on keeping this for a long time. What I'd rather just do now at this point, and my wife agrees. I'd rather just put money into this car. I'd rather put money into a little bit of body work, nothing over the top, but some little bit of body work. Put money into any things that need to be fixed, money into a new radio, and whatnot. I'd rather put money into that rather than get something brand new until I have to. Her and I decided that. I'd rather put all that money we have into the experiences rather than car payments. I just don't want to have car payments anymore. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. But I need to get the car radio fixed. It really sucks that I don't have it. And yeah, in the meantime, we'll just have to get over that for the time being. But anyway, as I just mentioned a while ago, the NBA season's just around the corner. Next Tuesday, in fact. So, I've been on the show. We've been seeing a lot more NBA related content on the feed. We're going to have an NBA show on this feed going forward. Probably start next week or week after that. As you guys know, Grant Carina and I, we did the debut episode of that on this feed back in August. And we'll, as I told you guys back then, we're going to do the show probably every 2 to 3 weeks for the next couple months. And then once NFL and college football winds down, we'll probably make that a weekly thing like we did last year. We'll look out for the content to come in the coming weeks. In the meantime, to continue the NBA stuff, which by the way, we dropped the NBA season preview already this week. You dropped on Thursday, and then you're going to see the second part of that drop on Sunday, I believe. My ranking the top 25 NBA players entering the year. And Zach and I did that together this past week. So continuing the NBA trend here, since the NBA is coming back, you guys start getting ratcheted up from that. Even though I'm not excited about the year, I'm a little more excited than I was last week doing the shows this week, or related NBA related shows. I'm going to review my top 5 NBA League Pass teams. Now, when I see League Pass teams, the teams that I am intrigued to watch entering the season personally. Okay, not the best teams, just teams that I find compelling and their stories compelling entering the year. All right, number 5, the Denver Nuggets. I think this team, they traded away Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. I think that's going to be a great trade for them. They get a little bit younger. Michael Porter Jr. I think maxed out his time in Denver. I think this team is probably going to be the real challenge. People say Houston, but I still think Denver is the bigger challenge to OKC to win the West. Jokic is still fantastic, best player in basketball. You just got to hold Jamal Murray. He's healthy, but this Nuggets team is always fun to watch for me. I think they play very good fundamental basketball. They didn't resign Russell Westbrook, which I wish they did, even though he was a little bit sloppy at the end. He still would have been a benefit. But I think this Denver team's going to be really good this year. I really believe so. They're not the better OKC. That's a big question. Number 4, the Atlanta Hawks. The East is weak this year. So if it's any time for the Hawks to get back to where they were like 4 or 5 years ago when Trae Young splashed on the scene and took the Hawks to the conference finals 2021, I think this is a great year to do it. Because after Cleveland, New York, who in the East really is scary? Like Milwaukee, I'm big on Milwaukee, as you heard on the preview show, but that's because of Giannis. You know what I mean? I think Giannis has a throwback year. I think Giannis would have one of those years where it reminds you of LeBron, 2006, circa 2006. But I think Atlanta has a really good team around them. I love Quinn Snyder's head coach. You signed Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, you're going to miss a ton of time with him being there because he's not very healthy. He doesn't stay very healthy every year, but if he's healthy at the right times, they have a solid team around them. And I think in that conference, they could easily win 47 to 50 games this year if they play the cards right. Trae Young, for all the shit we give him, he's one of the most productive guys in the league. Leads in assists, I think, last year, and top 3 or 5 guys in the scoring. He's very productive for all his defensive efficiencies. He's very productive. So the Hawks are intriguing. They're very intriguing. We'll see. Another team in the East, number 3, the Detroit Pistons, who last year came on the scene. Kate Cunningham, my top 10 players in the league right now. This team is coming. Again, another team like Atlanta can make a splash. They made the playoffs last year for the first time in a little while. And, with Cavs and Knicks being the only top 2 clear teams in the East, there's space to make some noise. Detroit Pistons are definitely one of those teams that can do that. So I got Pistons here number 3 on my list of NBA League Pass teams to look forward to watching. Number 2, I have the champs, OKC Thunder. Easy here. I love watching them. They're young, they're spry. You got SGA and Jalen Williams, 2 borderline top 10 players. I mean, SGA being the top 3 player in the league. Number 2 on my list, actually. And it's well-rounded, and they're going to be good for a long time. This is probably going to be the team that's going to be the most productive, and I think they're going to. I picked them to repeat this year. So because I think the NBA, unless someone comes out of nowhere, I just think that if they get to the finals, I don't see anybody needs to beat them, and I just think they're such a great team to watch. SGA is fun to watch. This team is set to be great for the next 5 years. And finally, number 1 for me, this is going to be easy for me. Number 1 team I'm looking forward to watching is the San Antonio Spurs. And the return of Wemby back from the blood clot. I think it was in the shoulder, I think it was. I think this is the year Wemby blows up now. If Wemby stays healthy, this could be an MVP year. If they win 50-plus games this year, I think it could be MVP. I think the Spurs are going to be a playoff team, not just playing team, a playoff team this year. I have a lot of high hopes for the Spurs. I know De'Aaron Fox has missed a little bit of time to start the year, but I think this team is ready to take the next step now. So I think the Spurs team is fun to watch. Wemby is going to be a top guy in the league next year or two. As Jokic obviously is number 1, but how long is it going to sustain that? We'll see. You got Luka in there, you got SGA there, obviously in the top 3, and Giannis, but they're getting older, and Wemby is the next guy. And I think he's the most intriguing person and player in the league. And I think he'll be a top guy by next year or two. I've been saying that since his rookie year. You see the future. You just see this kid's future. And he's very mature, too, also. He's 20 years old, 21 years old. He's ready. This kid's ready. So Spurs are my number one League Pass team. I'm looking forward to watching this coming season. All right. There's been a debate pertaining Donald Trump. Now, you guys follow the news. You've seen it was late last week, early this week, there's been a ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza, Hamas back and forth. And a lot of debate, because Donald Trump's been heavily involved in this situation and involved in this battle. There's a lot of debate about whether or not Donald Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, for some of you guys don't know what it is, the Nobel Peace Prize, it is an international award established by the will of Alfred Nobel to honor a person or organization that has made the most significant efforts toward global peace. The specific criteria laid out in Alfred's will from 1895 was that the prize should be awarded to the person who shall have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, the abolition of or reduction of standing armies, the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Now, over time, the interpretation has been broadened to also recognize and bring attention to key efforts in key areas that contribute to peace, such as humanitarian work, democracy, and human rights, arms control and disarmament, peace negotiations, and environmental stability. So that is what the Nobel Peace Prize stands for. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of folks, people, especially when they go to the politics of it all, say, well, Barack Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize. Why he deserved it? He got the Peace Prize literally 10 months into his term. People say month, but he actually got it in October 2009. Obama won the Peace Prize in 2009 for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. The Norwegian Nobel Committee highlighted several specific reasons for their decision, even though he had been in office less than a year. Vision of a world without nuclear weapons. He attached special importance to his vision and work for global nuclear disarmament. New climate and international politics. The committee praised his efforts to reemphasize multilateral diplomacy and the role of the United Nations and other international institutions. Also, emphasis on dialogue. His preference for dialogue and negotiations as instruments for resolving difficult international conflicts was noted. Also, outreach to the Muslim world. He was recognized for calling for a new beginning in relations between the West and the Muslim world. Now, back to Trump here a second. Does Trump deserve consideration for it? This is what I will say about this. A lot of folks, it's polarizing because Donald Trump is who he is. I've told my friends on the right that if this situation holds, if the ceasefire actually holds for a long period of time, not just a week, not just a month, because we've seen a lot of stopping with this conflict with these two countries. We have seen many back and forth between the two parties here. So, we've seen many presidents try to get involved and get a ceasefire or whatever it may be, but ultimately never holds because one side or the other attacks the other. However, I will say in defense of Donald Trump, he has been probably on rhetoric anyway, in terms of blufful and whatnot, I want to call that. He's been the loudest about trying to get peace. Okay? Now, whether or not you agree with that he's doing it for one side or the other, that's a whole different argument. Because I would argue that people say, oh, well, Trump is only for Israel because he supports Israel. Quite frankly, so is every other president we've had in the last 50-something years, okay? Because that applies also to Joe Biden. That applies also to Ronald Reagan, Barack Obama, you name it. Because, quite frankly, they haven't done anything, of note like this so far. So if, let's say we are sitting here next year this time, and there's been no relatively any big battles or any and the ceasefire still holds, there's an argument for that. There is actually absolutely an argument for that. Now, having said that, the reason why it's hard to defend Donald Trump to get this award, you love him or hate him, is because he's the one saying, because you know how Donald Trump is. I deserve the award. Just give it to me, but you're not going to do it because you don't like me. Because he whines like a little bitch. He does. He's a little bitch. It is what it is. And because he whines as much as he does, it makes it hard to defend him and defend that portion of that. Now, and look, the people out there, look, I don't like Donald Trump. Never voted for him ever. But the whole TDS thing, the Trump Origin Syndrome thing, is real. There are folks that he can do nothing. He can have a cure to cancer, and they will still sit and blame him for every goddamn thing because don't get no credit for it because he's Donald Trump. The TDS thing is a real thing, without question. Okay, part of the reason why I'm able to have a clear mind about this is because with Donald Trump, with me not liking Donald Trump, it's more to do with policy. I don't have to embellish my dislike for Donald Trump. I have to go over the top. There are simple things that why I would never vote for him, just on policy alone. Okay, so I've embellished that. Having said that, though, if this thing holds, there's absolutely no argument for him to do this. And quite frankly, if any president was able to do this for a long period of time, we'd be defending him or her to get that award. But because it's Donald Trump, it's a little more polarizing. And if Donald Trump was such a little bitch about it and like say, I deserve the award, then we can, then obviously he'd be a lot more, it'd be a lot more easier to admit that and say, you know what, you deserve it, despite our political differences. That's the problem. He makes it hard. He makes it really hard to defend him. You know what I'm saying? So, there's an argument for it. There really is an argument for that. Honestly, there really is. You know, but again, even something like this is politicized because it goes back to, I like him or not, don't like him. Listen, if he can get peace in the Middle East, that's all we care about. I don't care how you get there. Just get peace. No more guns. No more violence. You know. Now, the particular politics within it. You know, how they rebuild Gaza and this and that. That's a whole separate conversation. I don't know how you do that. What's the best route to take? But if Donald Trump was able to get peace and Israel can stop bombing Gaza and Gaza and Hamas can stop, you know, getting hostages and this and that and attacking other Israelis, that's a win. You take the win. And if Donald Trump who wasn't in the center of all that, you have to give him fucking credit for that. Okay? Bottom line. So that's where I'm at with that. And, you know, people probably think I'm a Trump supporter because I'm defending him. No, I'm not. Never voted for him. Never voted for him. Agree with nearly all his politics. But I also don't have TDS. Okay? I can speak with a straight mind and speak my piece and call balls and strikes. No one else wants to do that anymore in media. No one wants to do it. No one wants to do it at all, period. Call balls and strikes. And that's the problem. So that's just my opinion on that. All right. Last thing we get out of here and more politics here. You know, we don't talk about politics on the show like we used to, but, you know, there's some things that just caught my eye. Ted Cruz might be running for president. He's considering it. Now, while he has not officially announced his campaign for 2028, he has stated that he expects to run for president again at some point. And media speculation frequently includes him as a potential Republican contender for the 2028 election. Cruz actually previously ran for president in 2016. Now, the list of such candidates includes, of course, the Vice President J.D. Vance, of course, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who ran the primary last year, Marco Rubio, who is currently the Secretary of State and a senator from Florida. He was mentioned Ted Cruz a while ago. Nikki Haley, who ran last year as well, too, also. Donald Trump Jr. is a wild card, obviously the son of Donald Trump, the President of the United States. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is another option. She's the current governor of Arkansas and a former White House press secretary. You got Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, as well. Tim Scott, the U.S. senator from South Carolina, who ran the primary last year as well, too. Josh Hawley, who was a U.S. senator from Missouri. Vivek Ramaswamy ran last year as well, too. He also running for governor currently, I think, right now in Ohio. Governor or a Senate? Oh, the Senate. I'm not sure exactly. Other names that have been speculated as well, too. Tulsi Gabbard, who ran for president, of course, in 2020 in the Democratic primaries. Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia. Yeah, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security and current governor of South Dakota. We got Tom Cotton, the U.S. senator from Arkansas. Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky. And Doug Burgum, who also ran last year, who is currently the Secretary of the Interior and former governor of North Dakota. There's no shot. Ted Cruz has no shot. Okay, I'm sorry now. He has no shot in getting the nomination because the energy right now in that base now is going towards J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance has done enough to warm up to that base to where they like him as a successor. Donald Trump, now obviously people think he's going to run for third term. It needs to be seen. But if I had to rank the top 2 or 3 options here for the Republican Party now for the nomination, J.D. Vance will be the heavy favorite, of course, here. Marco Rubio will be the next guy, in my opinion. And honestly, the only other person I can consider, I'll consider really getting a shot at the nomination. I think, put it this way, I think Ron DeSantis has 0 chance of getting a nomination. I think he has a better chance than Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is so unlikable, even his own party. I don't know why Ted Cruz would even consider doing it at this point. No one likes him. Nobody likes him. He's barely winning the senator seats. He's barely winning elections in his own state for senator. Like in a state that's mostly heavy red. We keep hearing it's trending purple, but come on now. He's barely beating the Democratic nominees in his own state. No one likes him. No, even on the right side, no one likes him. He just seems very squirmy and slormy and smarmy. And I don't know, man. That whole thing is just weird. Ted Cruz has no shot at winning that seat, but no question that Ted Cruz came in second in the 2016. But even 2016, the Republican base back then was still up in the air. Now it's more MAGA. Okay, Ted Cruz, has no shot. You got a better chance of Tulsi Gabbard to get in there. You got a better shot of even Tim Scott. I think Ted Cruz's time has come and gone, dude. Come and gone. So that's my opinion. So, one last thing we got here. Sad news here in the music world happened this week. The great D'Angelo, one of my favorite soul artists, R&B soul artists, passed away at the age of 51. His real name, of course, Michael Eugene Archer. Due to pancreatic cancer. His family has a statement confirming that he had died after a prolonged and courageous battle with cancer. Sources close to the family, they specified the illness as pancreatic cancer, noting that he had been hospitalized for months and was in hospice care for the last 2 weeks. His family statement described him as a shining star of the family and asked for privacy while inviting fans to mourn his passing and celebrate the gift of song that he has left for the world. But dude, the Voodoo album they released in 2000, it has Entitled and a couple of songs I love. That Voodoo album, you guys know I love me talking about music, and I always talk about my top records of all time. The Voodoo album is in my top 10 to 15 albums of all time. You guys don't listen to a lot of music in different genres. That album, I spun that CD so much. I had to buy a second CD. There's certain albums I've worn through the years because I played it so much. That was one of those albums. I remember in 2000 when I had my old Volkswagen back in the day, my old black Cabriolet back in the day. That record was played a lot. Okay, a lot. That album, musically speaking, there's a song there with Method Man and Redman, phenomenal. I just love that record. That record is 25 years later still sounds fresh as those released today. D'Angelo was so talented, dude. So talented. He gets forgotten because he released what, 3 records only, maybe 4. He wasn't, when I say he was mainstream. He won a Grammy, obviously, but he was also one of the purveyors of neo soul. But unless because everything is so. What have you done for you lately in music and in entertainment in general? He gets forgotten sometimes. Sometimes he has to be reminded that D'Angelo. But that dude, that dude was one of the best musicians I think I've ever seen. I never saw him live, obviously, but he was fantastic, vocally, musically speaking. It's great. Now their son, Michael Jr., was Angie Stone, who passed away back in I think March or April, and now D'Angelo, they had a kid together actually. So now their child has now lost both the parents in the span of 7 months. That's tragic. So thoughts and prayers to his son, of course. He's going through right now. I think his son's like 28 years old now, something like that. But man, we lost a good one, man. We lost a great one, a great artist, D'Angelo, age 51. God bless you, man, and Godspeed, and rest in power. And that will do it for me on this show. The Friday show, of course, dated on October 17th, 2025. I am on X at EJ Christian 7. Earnestly podcast across all podcast catchers. Check out all the content coming down the pike, especially I dropped the new EJ's Loves the Internet, the 3rd version coming up this weekend. Of course, I'm on X at EJ7. Earnestly podcast across all podcast catchers, especially on YouTube at Earnestly Pod, on TikTok, Earnestly Pod, clips of the show. Until the next episode, we will see you guys next week. Love you guys. Take care.